Good evening. It is 6:34 p.m. and I would like to call the regular Cultural Heritage Commission meeting of January 18th, 2024 to order. Before I proceed, I would like to take a moment to go over our meeting protocols for today. The South Pasadena Cultural Heritage Commission meeting for January 18th, 2024 will be conducted in person to maximize public safety while still maintaining transparency and public access. Members of the public can observe the meeting via Zoom. Will staff please take roll call?
Commissioner Cross, Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Ding, excused absence, Vice Chair Lopez.
Here.
You have quorum.
Next, we move on to the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, do you have any request for additions, revisions to the agenda? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I would like to vote of the commission to proceed with approval of the agenda as submitted. All in favor? Okay. I'm in favor too. Next is the disclosure by commissioners of site visits and ex parte contact for items on today's agenda. Commissioner Cross. The disclosures of site visits or ex parte? Very good. Commissioner Marsh. And I drove by the site, but no contact with anybody at the site. All right, very good. Next is public comment for general items that are not on the agenda. Has staff received any public comments in person or via Zoom?
We have not received any public comments in chambers. Guests on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on matters not on the agenda. And we do not have any public comments via Zoom.
Thank you very much. Items listed under the consent calendar are considered by the Cultural Heritage Commission to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion unless a public comment has been received or a commissioner request otherwise, in which case the item will be removed for separate consideration. Staff, are there any speakers on Zoom or in person that would like to speak on a consent item prior to taking a motion? Oh, sorry, that was not a question. Commissioners, are there any items you would like to pull from the consent calendar? Okay, I see none. Ask for a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Aye, so it's been approved. So I believe this is the time that we are going to view or discuss our first project of the evening, the public hearing, 1818 Diamond Avenue. Staff, do we have a presentation? Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Mackenzie Goldberg, and I will be presenting item number 3 on the agenda this evening for project number 2560, COA, located at 1818 Diamond Avenue. The subject site is a rectangular-shaped lot located on the easterly side of Diamond Avenue between Spruce Street and Pine Street. It is approximately 9,239 square feet. It is zoned RS for residential single family and is surrounded by 1 to 2 story residential uses. The subject site is currently improved with a 1,364 square foot single family residence and a 404 square foot 2-car garage that was built in 1922 in the English Revival style. The property is a potential contributor to the high school neighborhood district, which is an eligible district identified in the city's 2002 survey. Since being built, the property has undergone several alterations. In 1988, a permit was issued for the demolition and replacement of the chimney due to earthquake damage. In 1989, a permit was issued that then expired for an addition and a three-car garage. At some unknown point in time, there was an addition carried out in the rear of the existing house. It's unclear what of this work was related to the expired permit. As part of this application process, the unpermitted work is required to obtain demo permits and to come into compliance. The applicant is proposing to add a 696 square foot first floor addition and a new 920 square foot second floor addition. The applicant is also proposing a 200 square foot front porch cover and a 334 square foot rear patio. When complete, the property will include a total of 2,980 square feet and have a total of 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. Here is the existing site plan. The unpermitted work is marked with crosshatching. Here is a proposed site plan with the addition highlighted in green. The proposed project complies with the development standards for the RS zone as well as those for small non-conforming parcels. Here are the existing and proposed first floor plans. The unpermitted work is hatched on the existing site plan. The proposed site plan again legalizes the unpermitted work and removes a non-conforming side setback. Here is a proposed second floor plan showing the new second story. Here is the front elevation, the existing and proposed front elevations. On the proposed elevation, you can see the new second story set back from the first, and you can also see the new porch cover that's being proposed. Here are the existing and proposed rear elevations. Here are the existing and proposed south side elevations. Here are the existing and proposed north elevations. Here is the existing and proposed roof plans. Here are some renderings of the proposed design, showing what it would look like from different angles. Staff recommends that the Cultural Heritage Commission find the project exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 15301, Class 1 for existing facilities, since the project is less than 10,000 square feet. And also for Class 31 for historical resource restoration and rehabilitation, as the project is proposing modifications to a potential historic resource. Lastly, staff recommends approval of the proposed addition, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. Thank you. That concludes staff's presentation. I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Do any commissioners have any questions of staff? No questions at this time. Very good. I don't have any questions either. Does the applicant have a presentation?
The applicant does not have a presentation, but they are available over Zoom for questions.
Does anybody in the public has a question for the applicant? I don't think we see anybody, so that would be a no. So, oh, well, I guess we open the public hearing. Are there any public comments here or via Zoom? I guess we're checking, so.
We do not, we have not received a request for public comments in chambers. Attendees participating on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on item number 3. And we do not have any public comments via Zoom.
Very good, thank you. Given the fact that there's no questions, then I think we at this point close the public hearing part of the project and we can discuss. Oh, okay.
I don't know if that happens during public hearing.
Well, I think he's on Zoom, I believe, right? Yes. So yeah, I think this is the time to make questions for the applicant because he didn't have a presentation, but now is the time for, yeah, absolutely.
the applicant team.
Hi, this is David Cristales, property owner.
David, is the architect also online, or are you speaking on behalf of the team?
I think he should be on. I hope he's on.
Mm.
Are we confirming that he's on?
I don't know if they can hear me.
Yeah, they can. Mr. Cristales, is the architect on there or is he under a different name? Because we see two, we see a Paul and we see a Diana.
He should be on. I'm checking with him now, but that's we agreed to be on at the same time, so I think he should be on. If should be under, I believe Benjuro. If you see that name.
No, that name does not show up.
I could try to answer any questions, but if it's more, yeah, directed toward the.
We were going to probably just discuss amongst ourselves, but the design of this, there's a couple of historic preservation findings that we have to make that are mandatory findings, one of which is when there's an addition to an existing home, the addition has to be differentiated from the original structure in some way. Could you
Mhm.
describe to me if in fact you guys plan to do that, and if so, how?
Sorry, I apologize. You said that the proposed additions, it's all set on the back, and in a way to be distinct as its own area. I'm not too sure if you're
Well-
talking about the exterior. but-
One of the standards is that it should be differentiated from the original house, so it
Okay.
doesn't look like it's just, it's either the
Okay.
original historic house or it's mimicking it. It's just supposed to be an addition to it that will look like an addition. It will be compatible, obviously, but it's got to
Okay.
be differentiated in some way. Oftentimes, people use a different width of siding or a different, some kind of
Got it.
material just to differentiate. Have you guys discussed
Yes.
that at all?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I was speaking with Mackenzie and the designer. We plan to do a distinct siding for of course, like you said, compatible, but it's going to be distinct in from the original part that we're preserving.
The siding will be different from the original.
Yes, exactly.
In what way? Is it, it's more narrow or wider or a different
We're
kind?
looking, yeah, the width and then the pattern maybe could be slightly different, but we're of course with the guidelines, we want to keep as much as possible the same and make sure we're abiding by all the guidelines, but the siding that we're thinking the width would be the difference.
I think he's answered the question.
Okay.
The best he can.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
can discuss.
Okay,
I think so.
and then do we want to discuss amongst ourselves?
Yeah,
the
I'm sorry, I think I skipped that spot. If anybody else has any questions for the designer, I guess I skipped that part, so now would be the time. We'll discuss after, but it's just questions at this point.
Yes, I would just have a question. What, what was, what was behind the decision to cover the front porch and add all of the steps and so forth
Mhm.
and reconfigure that front? The
Um,
first
I-
part.
The front would be currently we have, of course, it's not covered, and we find it that we don't use it as much. We'd like the fact that a lot of neighbors have covers around their porches, and then we see them out there during the rain, and we would like to protect the foundation too as well. It seems like its water can seep in that way. So we're thinking long term, we would like the fact that to be able to use it more and be able to be out there on given any kind of weather conditions.
Just to follow up on that question from Commissioner Cross, he also mentioned the steps, which is something I'm going to mention during my conversation about the design. the steps there are existing, there's an existing, if I remember correctly, there's an existing small kind of bricks there, and then there's
Yeah.
a brick facade in front of that. So are you indicating that you're going to remove the small brick steps and you're going to add edge to edge steps
okay.
in wood? That's what is
No,
in the drawing.
apology. I think that's just the rendering and the mock-up from the, like, I guess the software, but no, we plan to keep that brick layout. That's like we do want to preserve that as much as possible. So the goal would be definitely just to have the cover and the same layout with the same entrance using the bricks.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go to width to it. Apologize for that on the rendering, but the goal was essentially just to have the same opening, same dimensions, but just with the cover on top of it, and definitely wouldn't be
Okay.
stairs
So-
to stairs. It wouldn't go the width.
So thank you for letting us know, but just the fact that all the drawings show the steps going edge to edge. It's not only the renderings, it's the floor, the elevations, the site plan. So certainly it's the way it's shown to us. So that I'm thinking I understand your position. You're not the designer. You're the owner. Yet I think it's not helping you that he's not here, because we're gonna have questions that are very much technical questions or more related to design that you might not be able to answer. So just letting you know.
Okay.
Thank you. Is that good, Commissioner Cross? I mean, that's the best answer we're gonna get, I think.
Yes, that was, that addressed my concern, because right now it's a lovely
Yes,
curved way, brick walkway leading to the house
correct,
from the first image that we saw.
right.
And then you go to the back last page and it's just like destroyed.
Yes, no, it's a very good point, and I had it on my list of comments. So good eye. The scale and the scale and the proportions of the existing one, which makes me happy here, that David, that you're going to keep that. But it's really, the other one is really, well, my personal opinion, and I think Commissioner Cross is with me because he brought it up. It's really not a good solution for this house.
I think the front elevation, excellent,
Yes.
of the building.
So David, I think we're gonna enter into our conversation, discussion of the design of, and I encourage you to take notes the best you can, and to pass those on to your designer.
Okay.
And we're gonna try to be as clear as possible, because we don't want to waste your time or waste our time. So we want to be as efficient as possible.
Okay. Apologies, and just a heads up, the designer is on call now.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, let's have our conversation, and then we would like him to. He will have time to talk about what we say during our conversation. Does that seem reasonable?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Anybody wants to start? I can start, but anybody wants to start?
When I first looked at the drawings, I was stunned by the way that the second story addition appeared in the drawing, but it is set back and there is a two-story house on either side. And the perspective from the street would be a nice one to have.
Yes, one of my
But then
comments.
I kinda asked myself, if they have a 9,000 square foot lot, why are they going two stories?
Mm.
Well, I grew up in a two-story. But then, so I rationalized the story, given that there's a two-story on either side.
Yeah.
But then I looked at the porch and it's very pleasant as it sits. Few potted plants on there and under an oak tree that's beautifully trimmed, by the way. It's, so that's really my own comments on here.
Very
Look
good.
Forward to hearing what you have to say.
Okay. Okay. David, and I don't have your designer's name, but he will have a time after we speak to kind of, if he can take notes, he can respond to these after we're done talking. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you.
I'll make three main comments that I'm sure you're gonna address too.
Yes.
I too had an issue about the second story. I mean, it's twice, I mean, it's larger than the existing house. So it does seem to me it's supposed to be subordinate. It is set back far enough. There are other houses in the neighborhood that have 2 stories. I get that, but I'm wondering about how large that second story is. That's one comment. The second one I made earlier about the differentiation between the addition and the original house. And then lastly, I too like the brick entryway, and I think that the porch overhang, while I like a porch overhang, detracts from the English Revival style of the house once they cover it. It takes away from the front, this kind of specialness at the front of the house. So those are the 3 areas that I had some concern about.
We're not in a race. You can think about it. Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. So it's my turn, David, and so I'm going to start by thanking you and your designer for giving us a pretty good set of drawings. Although they're not quite, there are some issues with the drawings. They are giving us enough information for us to kind of look at the project and understand. I appreciate the color elevations, and I certainly appreciate the 3-dimensional images that were provided. And this is the kind of image that I think are very important to be done when we're having, especially when we're going from a 1-story to a 2-story. This is the kind of image that I think it should be a minimum that we should accept, because we certainly need to do this. Now, having said that, I think there are some things that could have been done, and I'm going to start with technical things and then go into what the design of the house itself. Technically, I think it would be great to see the houses on each side on the 3D model. And again, it wouldn't have to be rendered as detailed as if it could be boxes with the roof shapes. It would be great to see like the house next to each other to kind of see the scale of it. That's one point. But the main point is I think the perspective play locations could have been done more in a perspective from the street, from the height of a person walking by, because that I think although I think the new addition is a bit high and we can work on that, I think the impact from the street is going to be less than what it shows here. But because we did not get a perspective from like the sidewalk in front of it and the sidewalk across the street from it, we do not know how visible these back volumes are going to be. So that's a couple of comments about the drawings themselves. I assume also, we assume that the unpermitted addition is going to be demolished and we're going to start from scratch on the new one. So that's a good thing. So let's talk. I mean, in terms of location and volume, I don't have as much a problem with it. It's in the back, like the commissioner has said, and if we're going to tackle, this is the strategy that we encourage new owners owners when they are changing from a 1-story to a 2-story, or even from a 2-story to a 2-story. Actually, this is the kind of the strategy we appreciate, which is setting it in the back. Now, what I think could be adjusted is the height of the addition. The height of the addition, if I saw it on the drawings correctly, the plate on the second floor is 9 feet. And I would start by reducing that to a maximum of 8 feet. I understand that space is great, and having larger spaces are comfortable, but I think the what you do in the second floor, I think there is a point on having a public space, having a bit more space versus a private space like a bedroom that could be lowered to a lower height. And that way, reducing the impact of the addition into the neighborhood. So that's one thing I would like to have done. I do appreciate the two different size of roofs. I think that adds a nice articulation and a nice variety to the design. I think where the two roofs come together, there's gonna have to be some kind of cricket work or in there. So I'm sure that's probably not gonna be visible from the street, but again, I don't have the perspective from the street to be able to see. And speaking of that, actually, I also think that it doesn't have to be a three-dimensional model either. It could be in a section where you draw the sidewalk, the street, and the sidewalk, and a person, and just draw a line to see what you can see from the other side of the street. So it doesn't really have to be a three-dimensional model. So anyway, and that's either near or there. So those two things, I think, are things that could be improved. I also understand that we are following the existing house roof slope on the new addition, and under normal circumstances, that will be my first strategy, to follow the same. But in order to minimize the impact of that second floor, again, because I cannot judge it, because I don't have a drawing, the 3D model drawing that we've talked about from the opposite side of the street, I would encourage the applicant and the designer to change that to a little bit different slope. It's not my first instinct as a designer. I appreciate matching them, but at this point, I think doing it slightly different not only does it help the impact of the volumes in the back of the house, but also kind of helps you differentiate the existing from the new. So I'm not saying that one should be flat and the other one should be sloped. Don't get me wrong, but lowering that slope, a few inches, so that the impact is a foot or two from the total height. You probably won't notice necessarily that much about it, but it would make every inch counts. So I think those are moves that I could see you doing that would improve the design. I also agree with my fellow commissioners about the front. And David, I was glad to hear that you said that you are planning on keeping the little steps and the brick facade there. I understand. I also agree with them that adding the roof is going to be, it's for functional reasons. It's going to be good. And I agree with the fellow commissioners that I prefer not to have it, but it's not my house, so I'm not going to go that far. What I think we need to do is find a better solution for it. So I think a little bit more thought needs to be put into how that roof touches the existing roof, and what the height is, what the material is. I think it's not quite detailed properly, and since there's numerous inconsistencies on the elevations and drawings that we received, I think we're gonna need to see that before. I think there's numerous things out here that we have talked about that we would like to kind of continue to discuss. But again, I appreciate the drawings and the effort. So, David, you and your designer are happy to make any comments at this point.
Yeah, can I speak?
Yes,
Hello?
go ahead. Just go ahead and state your name.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ben Thomas. Yeah, I'm the designer of the things. It's really nice to meet you, all you commissioners. So,
Nice to meet you.
I meet you. Yeah, we understand about the slope thing. We can make it shorter, but the reason why we made it 8 slope because the existing roof at the front was actually higher slope. So that's why we made it very like similar. All that. If you want to make it shorter, do you know how high you want the slope to be? I mean, we can make it 4 slope. It can be any slope you want. But the question is, what kind of slope do you want, sir?
Well, if I may answer that, I'm not gonna tell you what that needs to be. I'm gonna let you choose what a good compromise would be.
Okay,
Again,
that's fine.
I don't think it should be very flat at all. It should
I know.
be, so I'm going something in between what you have and and very shallow. Somewhere in
Okay, I
between.
understand.
There's a nice sweet spot.
Okay, I understand. That's good. That's one. And two, as you know, it's a confusion on the plan. You see, when you go to the second floor, obviously there's a ceiling, and when you go to the ceiling, there's a bunch of 2x12s, like a flooring joist that holds the flooring on the second floor. Actually, inside the addition, the height from the finishing floor to the top plate is actually 8 feet. So there was a confusion. 9 feet is actually from the bottom of this first floor ceiling. So yeah, sorry for the confusion. Well, I know you want to reduce the height of it, but it's okay. Do you want it? So then that would be 7 feet high instead of 8 feet high. So is that any how can I say like restrictions? Like it has to be 7 feet instead of 8 feet inside the second floor addition.
I'm sorry. I see a 9-foot dimension here, and I assume that's from the floor to the ceiling.
No. That's no. Sorry, those are no. Sorry, I must have adjusted right. No, the 9 feet. Let me look at the plans right now. So one second.
So I think a section usually is not necessarily required, but I think at this point it would be also good to see. Oh, there is a section here.
Yeah, it's on
But
the
it doesn't have any dimensions.
Yeah. Oh, let me check this out. I must have forgot to. Let me see what happened because what happened was I made sure that each of the floors is 8 feet high because the existing house is 8 feet. So I mimicked the same thing as a second floor addition. It's supposed to be exactly 8 feet high. So let me just review that.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was looking for the dimensions. So can you read it?
Yeah. Let me read it right now. Let me open it right now. Hold on. Yeah,
Okay.
let me just
All
let
right.
me just read it right now. Oh yeah. I'm opening up the plans right now. And on the A1, when you go closely, you can't see. You gotta go zoom in a little bit. So on the first floor, section A4, when you look at number 1, the height of it, because it's a raised foundation, it's like 2 feet high. When you go to the finishing floor, it's 8 feet from the finishing floor to the ceiling. So that's the flooring for the second floor. Then obviously the ceiling joist, the flooring joist is like 12 inches, so that would be another feet. Then we go inside on the second floor. Well, then from the finishing floor on the second floor to the ceiling is 8 feet, not 9 feet. Yeah, sorry for the confusion. Because I thought that you guys understand that because I put a note saying that's the first floor ceiling. But as you know, obviously there's a 12-inch high ceiling joist, the flooring joist to hold so you have a subfloor for the second floor. So you understand that there was a good little confusion.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Is there a ceiling or is that is the bedrooms are open to the roofs or there's an attic above? There's an
No,
attic.
it's an attic. No, because we didn't make it vaulted. We made an attic, so it makes more sense. So
Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, I understand if it is 8 feet, then I understand that would be the minimum I would do. I would not lower any more than that. So
okay, gotcha. Thanks for the confusion. Sorry for the
good.
confusion.
No, absolutely. I wouldn't do any more than that.
Okay, gotcha.
Very good. I think if you could talk also about first the differentiation between the addition and the existing and the new, and then the front porch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can explain that. Yeah, as you know, obviously that it has to be the same material. Like I obviously know that the first floor, we look on page 5 for the existing, it's a black and white. Obviously, it's all material sliding, and it's like a huge gable roof there. So, anyways, the differentiator is that obviously that you have two high attic things and all that. So the point is, the reason why we did that is its regular shape. So as you obviously know on page 3, that when we did the second floor addition, it has a regular shape. It's not square. It's kind of like a L-shaped rectangle. That's why it's a little different because the shape is a little different than the first floor since the second floor addition. So
Okay.
Mhm.
So if you look at 5.1
yeah. Let me
and
see.
you look at both the longer elevations, the south and the north elevations,
Yeah, I see. What about it?
in the north elevation, there seems to be a heavier line between the second floor and the first floor. Is that some kind of trim, or that is just drawing?
Where I'm on the north elevation. Where exactly?
Yeah, on the north elevation between the first floor and the second floor in
Yeah, I
the
see it.
back of the house, there is seems
Yeah.
to be a heavier line in between the two sidings. What is that?
Sightings? Let me check that out.
So do you see on that north elevation that there is a darker line between the first floor and the second floor? Can you see that?
Talking line? That I don't see. Because on my plans, I see that. Well, on the north elevation, it shows on the side, like the back. It shows the patio in the back. Then it shows the addition for the two-story addition. So then on the
Mackenzie,
top, on the
can you
top.
get the drawings on the screen, please?
Oh yeah, sure.
So I think there is, okay, so you see here where it says proposed. Can you
Yeah.
point
Yes.
to that line in between the first floor and the second floor, Mackenzie? There. You see that where she's pointing right
Oh,
now.
all of that. No,
is
that's just.
what is that?
No. That's for the I put a line because I put a line that indicate where the first floor ceiling is. So I can indicate what that is. So I can know the height of it. So you see at the very end of you see the 10 feet 3 inches near to the porch?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a line to indicate the height of it. That's why I did that, so to indicate where that first floor ceiling is.
So what you're saying is that does not exist.
No, that's not exact. No, that's just like a line indicate where the first floor ceiling is. I did that to indicate where that is, and also where the flat roof is. I just did that to indicate how high is the porch in the back. So and the first floor ceiling.
So just to confirm, that line does not exist on the elevation. That
No,
you do
no,
not
no,
see that on
no.
the elevation.
No. It's like an
Okay.
alteration. It's like a way to see with that line, so you can see the difference between the height of the patio cover versus the second floor ceiling, the first floor ceiling. So I just did that to indicate how high is the underneath of that porch of the first floor ceiling for the house and the porch. So in the back.
So here's what the trick is. So you understand that one of the comments we made was that we need a differentiation between what's new and existing, correct?
Yes, I understand. Yes, yes.
One way to do that is to change the size of the siding or the material or something like that.
Yeah, I
You
could.
understand what we're saying?
Yeah, I know. So you can see the difference. Originally, I did hash, but Mrs. McKenzie told me that it confused everything. It looked too like hazy, so I had to remove the hash lines. So I put the hash lines beginning with the addition, but she recommended I should take that off. So that's why I did. So yeah, if you want to do that, I could say I could make the sliding lines larger than existing, so you know the difference. So.
That will be fine. The issue then is how do you transition on that, from the existing siding to the new siding. So,
Oh, that's easy. I have a program to do that. Because if you have a program for that, you can change any type of siding and make it bigger. It's called Chief. That's the way you can do that.
I'm not talking about AutoCAD, I'm talking about real life. How do you transition the siding between a bigger piece and a smaller piece in real life? I'm not worried about AutoCAD right now.
Well, you could, you have to may have
So-
customized it. Mm.
So the point of this is that we need to see that.
Oh, so you're saying that it's not a good idea you're saying we can make this, well, I think David wanted, do you have any suggestion that saying that we could just replace the old materials with a new one, or we have to keep the same materials with existing and put some different?
Let me ask you another question. Are you
Yeah.
changing the siding on the existing portion that you're not demolishing? Are you switching that siding to match the new?
I think so. David, are we doing that or no? I think you said something about that.
Well, no, some areas may have to be improved, but what we want to definitely do is improve the insulation of it. So so any of the old existing parts, we would want to kind of make it more efficient as possible. And a question for you, Commissioner, is this difference in siding to signify the existing and old? Is that a hard requirement, or like your point is, it's going to be some kind of blend, which I'm sure it can be designed and done smoothly, but is that a hard requirement though?
I'm gonna
'Cause then it looks weird.
Commissioner Morris discuss that. He asked if that was an art requirement or the differentiation from.
Well, it's
existing to
actually
new.
one of the findings that we have to make that's the Secretary of Interior findings on a historic home. So it's a finding that we need to make. So however you do that is up to you. But one of the other questions that Commissioner Lopez was asking you is, are you keeping the original siding on the existing house, or are you replacing the original siding when you add the new siding for the second story?
As
Well,
of now,
as
the
you
plan
know-
is to keep it the same. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the original plan is now to keep the original siding. The look and feel should be about the same for the new stuff, but we're planning to keep it as of now. But given inspection, if any kind of it's old or needs improvement, then I think we would want to, update it.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Because another finding that we make on historic houses is to the extent that you can keep the original materials, we encourage you to do that. So. to the
Definitely understand that, but it is a 100-year-old house, and if this is the original stuff, yeah, we're just worried about the condition of it. But as of now, we're happy with it. But again, yeah, it is old, so that's the reason we upon inspection by a construction company, if it's deemed, too old, or if it's that's something we have to consider. But as of now, the plan is to keep it.
Okay. So yes, that's it. Nobody can see the future, so we are following now that's the plan for now, and that sounds good. David, we're really not trying to be difficult. We're just trying to explain, being very clear about the things we're expecting to see for next
No,
time.
absolutely. No, not at all. Thank you guys for the time too. But no, I definitely understand. It just like the planning is hard to plan way ahead as we're trying to get the planning approved, but to when actually the rubber meets the road and things have to be, tied in together. That's where we're and it's hard to really see that or plan for that. So, but I definitely understand the committee's the commission's goals. So we would definitely like to keep it as much as possible, but it's hard to, like you're mentioning, this north elevation, that blend after the original window in the middle of that's the new addition. And the top part would be all brand new. So tying that together, I mean, we're as best as possible. I'll work with Ben and we can make that that differentiation. But again,
Yes.
when it comes to blending that together, we'll have to work on that. And
Yeah,
we can definitely make that available.
And just to give you a clue, it can be that I'm not sure what size. Let's just say for saying that the existing is 6 inches. It's 6 inches boards. Then you could use 9 inches over here, and that differentiation will be good enough for us.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
That we can signify that in the renderings.
Or you could go smaller.
Yeah.
also.
Okay, so one more question. So your point is that we keep the existing materials for the existing house. Well, for the addition, so you suggest that we should do a different type of thickness. It could be bigger or smaller, but as long that the addition doesn't have the same length of the siding than the existing, that we fine, sir.
Correct.
Okay, that can be easily done. I can put on a note saying that easily. So
Okay, I think we discussed all the different. So David, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the designer's name, so I apologize.
it's Ben Juro, but you call me Ben for short.
Ben, okay, Ben. Now we also discussed the roof over the front porch.
Mhm.
You heard our comments about it. What do you have to say about that?
Are you talking about the one on the front?
The roof over the front porch.
Oh, the roof. Let me see about that.
Yeah, like you said, functionally, we would like to keep it. I know that may be not part of the guidelines, but yeah, we would like to keep it. But again, if it would, well, I guess I don't understand the objection of why we can't keep that.
So I think my interpretation and the commissioners have different opinions about it probably, but my interpretation is that it is not well. I think we would like to see how the new roof relates, how it relates to the existing roof, how it's gonna sit on it, it's gonna be higher. The trick about this little porch cover is that there's not a lot of headroom there, so it's gonna get kind of tight.
Well, in building code, obviously, no, it's 7 feet high. So it is 7 feet high. You can squeeze easily. So that's the thing about making sure it's safety and all that.
Okay. Well,
My name is Diane Cuselas. I'm the wife of David. I'm on the call too. I'm also one of the homeowners here. And just in terms of that porch, I agree with keeping the brick steps. I know one of the issues we have with it now, functionality wise, we have chairs out there, but because of our beautiful oak trees and just kind of the weather, we can never sit out there. We can never enjoy time with our two beautiful kids out there. All of our neighbors, have slightly covered porches, and Halloween time, different 4th of July. We kind of love getting out there and getting together. And I find that part of the porch is just not useful. Just because, like I said, it's all dirty and there's never a way to keep even a chair to clean. Whereas, our neighbors, we see them out there all the time. So I think in trying to rework this front porch, we don't want it wider or bigger, mainly just slightly covered so that we can use it and enjoy it and enjoy the neighborhood.
I'm sorry, we missed a few of the a little bit of what you said because I think it was a technical issue there. But I'm sorry, can you identify yourself?
Yeah, sorry, this is Diane Cuselas. I'm the wife of David, also homeowner of 1818.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No,
nice to meet you all.
We understand that that it's functionally it would be better to have a roof over that space. As you can imagine, with houses that are in the inventory, we are very sensitive with what any additions that are done in the front of the elevation, kind of trying to keep the quality of the architecture and trying not to kind of blend it. So we are so much sensitive about that. And you know what? It's not you. This is the way we talk to everybody that comes to the commission. Making changes to the front of historical properties is a bit hard. So this will be a very strong element, and we are somewhat concerned about it.
Yeah, another way to say it is by putting a flat roof on that changes the English revival style of the house to more of a farmhouse or something. Maybe there's a trellis or something that doesn't, one of the character defining features of your house are those 3 windows that are on that elevation, and maybe the roof masks those or changes the front look of the house. And so maybe you could just rethink that and think of a way that would if you have to have some sort of weather covering, it wouldn't change the look of the house as much as a full roof. And again, you don't have to answer us at this moment.
No, you
These
don't,
are all
you,
thoughts
you
that
do
we're
not.
going to discuss
Right.
amongst ourselves when we make a determination.
And yeah, I thought we had entered our discussion time and we did just letting them respond to our discussions. So thank you guys for your participation. Let us now have the conversation. You're please listen to what we're saying, but at this point we're just going to talk and then thank you. Just a minute. So we have officially closed the public hearing, and now we are commissioning discussion. Right.
So it feels like there are a couple of main issues, but they're resolvable. This is generally, in my opinion, fairly well designed.
Yes.
They seem, the owner and the architect seem willing to work with us.
Correct.
There might just be some areas that they weren't that familiar with from a Cultural Heritage Commission standpoint.
Correct.
I feel like we could probably identify them, you
Yeah.
could, and we could approve this project with a chair review to see if they could address the roof, the pitch of the roof. I guess we're not going to change the height of the walls, but the
Correct.
pitch of the roof could perhaps bring the feeling of that second story down a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
And then you can discuss with between now and then, they could figure out how they want to differentiate
Deciding.
the siding.
Yeah.
Is those would be my comments.
Well, I would like to see them move ahead as quickly as possible. But I do have a real problem with front porch, changing that elevation.
Mm.
And I don't know how to correct or fix it, but even if you had the ends of beams facing the street, it would look a little lighter,
Mm-hmm.
a little more decorative, and less
Like a
than,
trellis. Yeah.
trellis look, rather than just look like it just got added.
Right.
That's what it looks like to me. It's been added. It wasn't a part of the invention. And definitely not steps all the way across.
Yeah. Well, I think we've clarified that, and I think the owner was very clear that they were gonna keep the existing steps and the existing brick
Yeah.
facade of the porch. Well, I'm very comfortable reviewing as a chair review. What I not so comfortable, I'm comfortable reviewing as a chair review. Besides the point that I think I think they're gonna come back with a roofed option, and I'm not feeling a consensus on. I'm not feeling a direction that I could represent in my chair review. So that is the one point that I feel like I would like to have a little more discussion, the three of us, before we render that part of the decision.
Well, I think that the roof should be held behind. Front should extend beyond it, I think.
Oh, you mean in section so that it's not, yeah, okay, got you, got that.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Cross, if there is an option that comes to the chair review that includes a better defined roof for the front, would you be opposed to that?
No. As long as-
Okay, so I now I have something to work with. So, very good.
Great.
Okay, so Commissioner, would you like to put out the motion?
I would make a motion that we approve this project as submitted. We can make the mandatory findings. We can make project-specific findings. Number one, which is the project removes inappropriate alterations of the past by demoing that unpermitted part. Two, that the project's appropriate to the size of the neighborhood. And three, that it adds substantial living space for, while preserving the single-story nature of the nature of the neighborhood. I would condition it, though, that there's a chair review to review, that Commissioner Lopez does a chair review to discuss what the slope of the roof changes to try to minimize that second story. That he also discusses how they differentiate the new from the original house and what they decide to do about the front porch cover in the front, hoping to minimize that as much as possible, if not eliminate it.
And certainly that includes that the steps going into the front porch are going to remain the way
Remain
they
the
are, which
steps
is what they have
themselves.
explained. So I would second that, and let's do roll call.
Commissioner Cross,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
This guy. So we will have a chair review to discuss those elements that we talked about. This very has been approved subject to the conditions of approval, which we already mentioned. This decision is final unless an appeal is filed within 15 days from today. No construction or activity may commence during this period. Appeal forms may be obtained from the city clerk's office. Thank you, and this closes the public hearing for this agenda item number 3. Okay, very good. Thank you, David and Ben, and I'm sorry, I don't have what's that? Diane. I'm sorry, Diane. So thank you for your participation, and we're hoping that we were as clear as possible and we gave you some good direction, and I will be available to review as soon as you have something for me to look at. And we'll do that through email so you can talk to Mackenzie and kind of coordinate that. So thank you so
Good.
much.
Thank you all. Thank you, three. Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we move on to comments from our council liaison, which she's not here today. That's okay. She was very busy last night, very late. We now move on to comments from commissioners. Any comments from commissioners?
No comments.
Nothing happening? All right. I don't have any comments either. We now move on to comments from our subcommittees. Don't think we have any subcommittees going either. All right. Wait a minute. I'm okay. Comments from staff. There you go. I knew you were here for something. It's like, where is his part? Where is it?
Thank you, Vice Chair Lopez.
Hey, Matt.
Commissioner. Matt Chang, Planning Manager here with the Community Development Department. Staff, just very few comments. First of all, Happy New Year. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And second of all, as many of you are aware, the mayor reappointed Vice Chair Lopez last night. So thank you. We'll continue to look for working with you, Vice Chair Lopez, as our future. Continue on the Cultural Heritage Commission. And also we'll be at the next meeting in February, we'll introduce a new commissioner to our Cultural Heritage Commission. Sorry, I don't remember his name on top of my head right now. So, but at the next meeting in February, we'll likely have 5 commissioner with us. And also what we do, we'll have a annual chair and vice chair selection for this upcoming year, because I know for many of you know that comes with responsibility with a chair and vice chair was processing a lot of project for us for a minor chair review. So thank you all in advance for volunteer to serving on our commissions. And I think that's all I have for tonight. Thank you all.
I think we had maybe an informal discussion before you came in today about the possibility of adding alternate commissioners to the commission. I was in San Marino last night, and one of the commissioners was an alternate commissioner, because I assume that when you don't have enough quorum, if you know in advance, a month in advance, you can prepare a person to be. Is that something that could be considered for South Pass?
I heard that suggestion for a local architect as well, because I understood that San Marino has that layout or format. I should find a way.
Yes.
But I think this is something that I can discuss with the city clerk office, because what happened with all the commission and board with what we have is all established in the municipal code itself, because the municipal code does mention either 5 planning commissioner, 5 cultural heritage commissioner, or I think for some commission have a 7 or 8 or 9. So the number it is established in the municipal code itself. So you will take a code change to change the number.
Yeah.
How that works. So that's needs a probably a broader discussion with the city clerk office, city manager office, and city attorney as well.
Okay.
But I definitely duly noted. I will mention that to to other departments and to have a further more elaborate discussions.
Yeah, it could be changed to like, for example, in our commission, 5 commissioners and 2 alternates or something like that. Yeah, or up to 2 alternates. So if there's only one, there's only one kind of thing. Anyway, just a suggestion. Thank you, Matt. All right. So at this point, I believe if there's nothing else, I'm looking around to see if somebody is giving me any signals. It's time to adjourn. Do I have to do a motion? No. So we adjourn the meeting, and our next meeting will be February 15 at 6:30. Have a good night. Oh.